Hey everyone, hello, hello, good evening, and welcome to your Sunday tonic, your Sunday spices here. Um, it is time for that conversation that we usually have every evening. Um, please call your friends, invite your sisters, your brothers, share the link. I always say you don't know who you would be saving because knowledge is power. The information that we share and we bring to you from these conversations can be helpful to someone. So, welcome once again. I am the Love Crusader, and I have some beautiful people with me in the studio this evening. They are people that I have looked forward to talking to, especially two of them, because we've had Dr. Sabo here before, and today he's blessed amongst women. He's the only man among us here today. So welcome again, Dr. Emmanuel Sabo. And Tokumbo is here. So Tokumbo is a longtime friend and sister. And for those who do not know, we have a WhatsApp group where we talk about issues as they relate to. It's a bit of a selfish group. It's for sisters only. We talk about issues, things that we talk about here, relationship. The conversation actually goes on there, and from there we carry them on to bring to you on Sunday. So Tokumba is one of my most popular avid contributor to the platform. So I know she has something to say today. She has something to say today. And the topic, oh my goodness. The topic is a topic that I've also been looking forward to talking about because, okay, as we go on, you'll see a lot of the reasons why. So, Talks, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You will not
Nice
believe
to be
that
here.
it is not that I know her real name. We always call her TK. TK. When CCK come in, conversation will change. I'm so happy that you're here today. All the way from Lagos, Nigeria, by the way. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you
And
for the invite.
my twinning is struggling to join us, but I know she will eventually get it. They call her twin sisters. I have known this lady for almost maybe 30 years of my life now, so you can know where we're coming from. She is my twin sister, soul sister, Sister Divine. For those who used to know her, Divine Unsa, now Divine Uje. Hopefully, she can connect with us and we can have an excellent conversation this evening. Time is not always my friend, and like I said, this topic is one that I know is going to be, very interesting. Everyone wants to talk about it, and everyone wants to hear, and everyone wants to contribute. Please remember to put in your questions, your comments, your observation. It's all allowed. It's a conversation. You can also have your say. Alrighty. Because it's her first time, and of course, we want to go with the code of ladies first. Tokumbo, what's your definition of love? So, for the first time when you come to this platform, you have to give us a definition of love because it's all about love on this platform. What's your definition of love?
Okay. Love is that thing that does you tin it and anytime you think of someone else. But on on a serious note, right? I think my best definition of love is what the Bible says about love, right? In First Corinthians, right? And it says that love is patient, love is kind, thinks no evil of another, right? And generally, that kind of summarizes what love should be, right? Anytime you think about anybody, when you think about, okay, let's start from a mother's point of view, right? Whenever you think about your child, how do you think, when you think about love towards your child, how do you think about the child, right? You don't want any harm to happen to the child, right? When the child needs something, you go over and above for the child. I'm using a child because usually people are very um, selfless we show selfless love when it comes to children, right? So, but it should extend towards everyone, right? It should extend towards your family, it should extend towards your spouse, it should extend towards your neighbors, right? So you should always see love the same way you would look at love when you're divining with your children, right? You're patient with them, no matter how bad or whatever it is that they've done to you. We tend to learn to forgive them, right? It's love is forgiving. So that's generally my definition of love.
That's, thank you so much, sis. That is an encompassing definition. And you
Mhm.
see now, if I allow her, she will continue. Only that one question, she can continue to give us a full exposure on love. Hi, Sister Divine. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Sister Uje? Okay, let's continue. I'm sure she's going to get it sorted somehow soon.
The
Okay, so
connection is having problems here.
bam,
I don't
that's the
know. I
voice.
don't know why.
That's the voice. That's the voice. At least now we can hear you. Welcome. We are just going to do our best. Sister Divine is joining us from Ibadan in Nigeria. So sometimes this is our network system back home. They are very, very good. Any which way, we're going to just try. I know she'll keep trying until we can get it right. Let's jump into the topic today because we're going to run out of time. You know, this is our 1 hour and a half to just me to just finish. Love and money, ego, chelete, pepe. In South Africa, they call it chelete. Nigeria, we say
Mhm.
it's ego. Eh?
Mhm.
Love and
Mhm.
money. How are they
Yes.
related? How are they even? What concern love and money? Let's start, Dr. Sebo. Kick the ball rolling.
Yes. Well, it's nice to be here again.
Welcome.
Um, this is a very exciting topic. So, love and money. When we look at love, there is really no one little way you can quickly just define love. Love is really very all encompassing, and it has so many qualities and characters that help you define what love is. In other words, love is intangible. You can't lay a finger on it, you can't see it with your eyes. Some people can say they feel it is a feeling, some people express it. So love is the intangible quality of a relationship that keeps it going. However, money is the tangible quality of a relationship that facilitates the love in that relationship. So um so I believe.
This my brother is supposed to be a medical doctor, but if he's speaking some English, tangible and intangible. Break it down.
So, in other words, we okay, as Christians, the Bible would say, we do not see God, but we know we love him because he first loved us. That's just, you can't see him, but how do you then know you love God? So, you know you love him because it's in your heart. It's intangible. You can't hold on to it. It's not concrete. But money is concrete. Money is tangible. You can see it, you can feel it, you can relate to it, you can make things happen with it. So, money is that tangible aspect of a relationship that facilitates love in a relationship, in a healthy relationship. In fact, I would argue that it is very difficult for a healthy relationship to exist without the presence of money as a facilitator. So, money is very, very important in relationships. And as we continue to dive into this topic, I'm pretty sure we will get to the heart of the reasons for some of the statements that I am making. So that's just a quick intro to it.
Okay. I'm hearing some things that I'm liking. Money is the tangible aspect of love, of a love relationship. Okay, so we say love, I love you, you love me. We cannot see it. That's intangible. I'm trying to break down this
Mhm.
your grammar. So now money is the one that we will now see. Is that what you are trying to say? Tangible, we can see, we can hold it. Okay, Tokes, do you agree?
Absolutely.
Do you disagree? What's your take? Love and money.
I agree with him. Because really, when they say money answered all things, right? There's a reason for that. It tends to make things a lot easier. Now, it's I think where the difference now comes in is how much of um how much of money is defined in a relationship. I think for me, right? So because if we say there is no love without money, it means that someone who isn't rich, quote and unquote, is not entitled to love, which isn't true. So I think in everything it's about balance, right? Of course, you shouldn't think about loving someone without having money. It won't work. It won't work. But at the same time, right? Love shouldn't be dependent on money. So it's about striking a balance, really. I seem to have a.
Okay, the thing is drawing legs and branches now. The matter is not drawing leg and branches because you say we should not say we love someone if we don't have money, but money should not be the basis of love. So how do we find that balance? Because um you have said money makes things easier.
Yes, it does.
So are we saying that if I don't have money, I cannot love? And in quote and unquote, can we break down the rich? Because we are saying in quote, it doesn't mean that somebody who is not rich. So we have to now break down, you see, the aspect of riches. What do we mean that somebody that is rich or somebody that is not rich? In fact, first of all, let's before we even continue, what qualifies someone to be called a rich person?
Me, I don't
Oh,
know.
great question.
Dr.
So,
Sebastian.
riches is mere perception. It is individually defined.
Mhm.
So, how rich a person feel they are is defined by their perception of money and their relationship with money. There are people that would subscribe to them being rich if they have $100,000 in their bank account. There are those that are very rich if they have $50,000 in their bank account. And there are those that don't think they're rich until they have $1 billion. So it's individual perception of money and how you think about it that would define what you consider rich. Which is why when it comes to love and money, I want to quickly say it's really very, very individualistic because as you can see, my perception of it might be different from yours. So if we are going to come into a relationship, it's essential from the get-go that we have a clear understanding between both of us on how do you see money? How do you see contentment? What do you consider wealthy? And what do you consider rich? And how would you cope without money? Can you exist without money? Would your life be miserable? Would you still be happy if you don't have any money? And if you have money, how does that change your behavior? So there are many aspects that are all defined by an individual's perception of what they think is a lot of money. And when you feel you have a lot of money, then you say you are rich.
Okay, let me just ask a follow-up question to that before I come back to the rest of the guests. So would you now say that it is about no this perception of riches and wealth, does it change with time?
Absolutely. It changes with exposure, it changes with time, it changes with your circumstances. It even changes with where you are. So I give you an illustration. When I was in medical school in Ukraine, I saw people who were 100% contented and felt they were rich, earning $300 a month. And they were about the happiest people I would say I've seen. Very contented. They love their family. They're so happy, and they make do with it. But when I went to the US, I saw people that if $300 is all they have in their account, I mean they'll be going bonkers and they'll go crazy. So it's individual perception about how does this money thing work for each person? How do you see it, and what do you do with it? And of course, it depends on the economy. If you feel all your needs are being met by the resources you have, most of the time you feel rich and contented, right? But if you feel your needs cannot be met by the resources you have, regardless of how much those resources you can have, whatever amount, if you still feel it doesn't have the capacity to meet your needs, then you're still not rich, or
Hmm.
you wouldn't feel rich yet.
Okay, okay. I'm coming back to it. Let's welcome Sister Divine. If she can talk to us now, let's see how good her network is. Hey sis, even to unmute the mic is taking time. Okay. Um, I was told. Okay, sorry, she's the one muting herself and unmuting. I was told. Let's continue the conversation. I was told that the ability to want to do something and have the money to do it is what makes you a rich person. Tokes, do you think that's a correct definition?
I guess so. I guess so. At least to a certain extent, right? I think that should be more or less that should qualify as comfortable,
Mm,
right? Wanting to do something and having the ability to do it, that makes you comfortable. When you are rich, you understand, it goes beyond, you have more than enough. You have an excess, right?
yes.
You're not just, then you have, that's where you hear people that have so much more than what they and their families need. Then they are rich. If you have enough to take care of your needs at a particular time, you're comfortable. You are not
Okay.
rich.
Hmm. I like that. Comfortable. Okay. Sounds like my name. Anyways.
Just to say that I second that idea completely.
Okay, you do second that. If I
Yeah.
have money to do so, and I need to do something and I have the money to do it, then it means I'm comfortable. But if I have excess, so I have money, I've done all that I need to do, and there's still some change banked down that, like, change to play around with that I don't even have plans for, then I'm rich. Now I'm thinking, comfort, are you rich? All right, let's move on. Let- let's move on in the conversation. So are we saying, because we've all agreed that money makes things easier? Dr. Sabah told us it is a tangible aspect of a relationship. So do I need to be rich or to be comfortable to be able to love? Doctor?
If I would jump in on that question.
Yes. Yes.
Personally, the answer is no. And this is my personal opinion. I will draw an example quickly from the Bible. Bible says God made Adam, made Eve. Virtually, they had nothing. They were literally naked, no clothes, nothing, no property. They were made stewards of what God owned, and of themselves, they had nothing. And they still fell in love. When you hear Adam's poetic statement, bone of my bone, flesh of my
Oh,
flesh. Exactly. You see the feeling it just provokes that feeling of, oh, what touching, such love. They could do it without the presence of money. So, in and of itself, the presence of money or absence of money in and of itself should not be the one thing that says, oh, you can or you cannot love. If you don't have money, doesn't mean you can't love. However, in 21st century,
okay.
it is in my opinion, of utmost importance that you have money
Hmm.
as much as you can. And more important than having money, that scriptural example I use, is important that you have a purpose and a mission in life,
Hmm.
because money and resources generally acquiesce towards mission and purpose.
Hmm.
Okay? So if at the beginning you're not yet comfortable as we've defined it, you're not at comfortable stage, but you have a mission and you have a purpose in life, most likely over time you will accumulate resources because God provides resources for people to achieve their mission and their purpose in life, which means most likely you're going to have money as you go on in life. But from the get go, it's not a deterrent to love if you're not rich or comfortable yet. It will be better to be in that state, but if you're not there yet. And I when I got married, I would say I was not yet at the level of comfortable as we've defined it. And I had a very black and white conversation with my wife to be then. My wife was not at a comfortable level as we'll define it then either. So this was a, we need to sit down, we need to talk this through. But I have a mission, I have a purpose in life. I know the quality of the person I am. And I understood and I could see the quality of the person she is. And that in and of itself meant that, okay, we are not at ground zero here. It's not like zero. So please, people, understand where I'm coming from. But we knew that together, if we work together, because of our individual relationship to money or perception about money, we knew we could win any battle, we could go further, and we have been comfortable. Thank you, God.
Hmm, hmm. Okay, Sister Talks. I'll let you say have your say on that, and I'm coming back with another question.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, I've said everything. But yeah, I think finding a balance between love and money, it's um it's very important. There are um it's about it's about both individual, right, and having an understanding and, like you said, a purpose in life, right? They said, can two, Bible says, can two work together except they agree, right? And that, I think that's the basis for love and money. Because when there are two people in a relationship and they can't seem to agree on where they are going, it's going to be a problem. I don't think there's any amount of money that can solve that. And I explain what I mean by that. Um, if, say, let me use something very little, say 1,000 naira, right? Between a couple, they have one. And when I say couple, it's not necessarily that they're married, right? They could just be in a relationship, because it starts really defining how you're going to build your family life together. Starts from when you guys are in a relationship, having to understand each other in courtship before you go into a marriage. And so um between the two of you, you have 1,000 naira, right? um if you guys cannot agree on how to spend that 1,000 naira, it's gonna be a problem. One person can decide that, okay, um that 1,000 naira, I want us to go and buy shawarma and eat it, right? And there's another person who is probably like, why don't we just use 500 naira? Maybe between us we can buy donuts, we get two donuts, right? And then the remaining 500 naira, let's put it into something, invest it, right? If it it's going to define, honestly, on the long run, it defines how the love relationship will work out, right? Because if you guys can't even agree on that, it's going to define how the marriage as a whole will be. So that's where sometimes there's a lot of conflict, not necessarily because there isn't enough money in the union, but there's a problem with how the money is disbursed in the union.
hmm. Okay,
One,
okay. Talks. I like the aspect that you are going, but we are running too fast. Slow
okay,
down.
yeah.
We have 3 weeks, 3 weeks to disseminate this topic. I'm not rushing it at all. I
Okay.
want us to create a very solid background to it today, and based on that, we'll build on it for the next 2 weeks. Some other powerful guests are also going to come and have their say on this topic, because it is a very serious aspect of the marriage relationship. Remember, we're talking about relationships generally. Next to adultery, financial issues is the second reason for divorce worldwide. So adultery and sexual incompatibility is number one, is the first one on the chart. The next is financial issues. So what we're talking about is a serious matter, and I'm treating it as a very, very serious matter because I know it's serious. Let me come back to something Emmanuel said. Um, so when he was getting married, he didn't have money, was not so comfortable. They had this conversation, and maybe his babe saw prospects. So, should we be talking about marrying prospects or money that's already on ground? Do we do faith, brother or sister? Because anyways, we from where we come from, we consider the man as a breadwinner and expect that the man should have money now, and then the sister can support as a helper that she is, abi. So that's why we are going to be talking more about the man. So let's say, for example, this brother, he does not have money, but he has prospects. So there's a hope that tomorrow he's gonna have money. Should that be enough? Let me ask Sister Tukumba because she's a sister. Let Tokes answer us first. Tell us, should that be enough?
I think it should be.
Okay.
I think it should be. So let me use myself as an example. When I married my husband, uh, he had prospect. He was comfortable as a single man, right? Because there's a difference between when you're single and when you're carrying someone's child and putting it in your house. So uh, he was comfortable, and but I didn't look at, but I also knew he had prospect, huge one, right? And so that was how I came into the marriage, right? Of course, coming with my own support and all that, but he wasn't a wealthy guy. He wasn't rich, right? Okay, he had a car, but when we started dating, he didn't have a car. Then he didn't have a car, right? But by the time we got married, yeah, he had a car,
Okay.
right? And that was it. It was a progressive thing, right? We moved from him staying in. Then he was in a one-bedroom apartment. By the time we're getting married, we moved into a two-bedroom apartment, and of course we've gone up since then. And so that is the thing. That now this is bearing in mind, and why I believe that a prospect is always better. Excuse me, is because a lot of things happen over time in life, right? Um, a rich man can make some unfortunate investment and become poor. It has happened so many times. Then
Okay.
what happened? You married him as a rich man. You felt nothing was going to happen. Oh, we guys were going to, everything was always going to be rosy. And then things went south. Then what happens? Will you leave the marriage? So that's why for me, I believe that um, going with someone who has prospects,
It's
knowing
safer.
the person,
It's safer.
not always though, because
I'm going to
not
come with
always.
something.
So
I'm going to
I
come.
think
I am going to come with one question and one conversation soon. But just hold on. Dr. Sebo, tell us. So, okay, no, there's no need for you to tell us because even you said your wife married
Well,
prospect.
doesn't mean that I believe everybody should look towards marrying prospects.
true.
Okay.
It's clear as an example, even in the Bible, that Ruth did not marry prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he married a wealthy, older gentleman. So at least we keep saying, let's try to have a balance. Yes, let's have a balance. There is no one size fits all from from my perspective or how I see it. It does depend on the two people. Like TK said, can two work together except they agree? The circumstances surrounding them can change. Those are things that change over time. You can have more money, you can have less, all that change. But if two of you agree, then you can get married too. In fact, let me push the conversation a little further by saying the best scenario for me is man have your money, woman have your money, come together and be united. And that's the most ideal scenario. Yeah. But I understand I know all the Nigerian people are giving me the look of dude.
Yes, we are.
I understand that's ideal. However, if there are single ladies hearing this and you have an older, God fearing man, that has so much money that is toasting you and you
It
love
doesn't
this
have
man
to
or
be
you
much
like him,
older.
it's
It
not
doesn't have to be older, doctor. It can be a young man who has inherited money, or a young man who's doing well
exactly.
in business. As long as he has
Exactly.
chelete,
Money.
okay, go on, I'm
Exactly.
hearing you.
So that is, there's no harm in that. It is not, if somebody has a lot of money, there is, it's not a predictor that okay, if things go bad in the future, your relationship will collapse. It's not necessarily a predictor. So, but at the same time, um, if somebody doesn't have money, it should not be a detractor from you exploring the potentials that lay within that person, both the man and the woman in this case, because the man may have a lot of money today, and then the woman may have a breakthrough halfway through the marriage, and then maybe she gets voted to be like Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States of America. I'm pretty sure when she got married to her husband, she wasn't that popular or that rich or that significant, but here she is, which brings another layer of challenges that they have to deal with. And if I may quickly digress from this and add, the comment we were making, money is so important that when I did a little bit of a read up, 60 to 90% of the stress and difficulties in marriage have their roots in money. That's how important it is for you to know for yourself how you are with money. And then for you to determine, if you as a single person, for example, say, you know what, I cannot marry someone who isn't rich. There is no crime in that. Just be honest with yourself and pursue that purpose. And then make sure that is clear from the get-go so that everybody know what they are entering into. But it's no, there's no one size fits all. It's very much okay to marry someone who is rich. The same way it's okay to marry someone who has prospects.
Okay, I'm going to come back to the marriage relationship or the lovers relationship. Um, However, I want to I want us to now talk about love in its general sense. Talking about love of a mother to a child, love of a brother to a sister. On this platform, we have said that there's no love without giving. So, Dr. Sabo is my brother. Is it possible for me to say I love him, he's my brother, and never give him anything because I don't have? Is it also possible for me to love him and not give him anything even when I have? Two situations. Do you get what I'm trying to ask? So, I love you. Such is my beautiful sister. I love her, and I always say to her, oh, I love you, sis. You're the best sister in the world. All of those lyrics. However, is it possible for me to truly love her and never give her anything? Is it possible? That is one on the premise that I do not have, or even when I have, I don't give. Who
Okay.
wants to go first?
Okay. Let me try this.
Okay.
Um. Okay. First of all, when you're talking about love, right? There are different love languages. There are some people it's words of affirmation. For some people, it's gift. So, um, I think love can be different things to different people. Right. So let me um, give an example. I have a friend who we started out as I think I went to drop my younger son in school, and she saw me and asked. She was trying to get her kids into school, right? And so she saw me and was like asking about the school. And so we exchanged numbers, and then we used to chat and all that. And then I think then she was pregnant or something, and she sha put to bed. When she put to bed, now as a Yoruba girl, right? My own how I grew up was that anytime someone puts to bed, you gotta give them pepper soup, right? So when she put to bed, I told her she was in the hospital. I made pepper soup and I took it to her, and I think that was the turning point in our relationship. I didn't do it because how do I it wasn't supposed to be a turning point in the relationship. It was pepper soup. I did it as I remember girl she put to bed. and I went to give her pepper soup. She's evil. And so it meant a lot to her. I didn't give her money. But over time, our relationship has developed so much. Now we're like sisters, starting from pepper soup. So it's when you talk about love, so that's probably her own love language. She likes people appreciating her, right? There are some people, there's nothing you give them. And for someone who has a lot, it's probably time. They want you to spend a lot of time with them. So when you're giving to people, right, it's showing love to someone doesn't necessarily mean it has to do with money. It has to do with gifts, right? It might be the time you spend with them, making out time for them. It's still giving. It has nothing to do with money. Now we're talking on a general note. We're not talking about
Yes,
the
of
couple.
course, of course.
We're talking on a general note, right? It might be that, let's say for my mom, it's you being the first person to call her on her birthday, right? We had this house help. May her soul rest in peace. She died last year,
Oh,
and she had been, I think that was when I was even still in school. She left when I was in like 300 level. So that's maybe like 2003, 2004, right? But up until she died last year, uh, it used to be a competition between me and her who calls my mom first. Because that was what it was for my mom. So it's different things. And then there are some people forget it. If you do not give them gifts, if you know, as far as they're concerned, you're not showing love. So I think really it's about knowing individual people and what they appreciate. Loving someone is you being able to know what they want at a particular time and giving it to them, whether it costs you, and no matter what, it's going to cost you something.
hmm.
My opinion.
Loving someone means that you have to understand them and what they need at a particular time. That
Yeah.
one sounds like one of these Mandela's quotes. I love it. Dr. Sebo, your take on that question.
So yes, I follow the ideas that TK used, and so it means it's possible for somebody to love and not necessarily give tangible things. From the beginning we talked about love having is intangible. There are many intangible aspects to it. In talking about love language, she used examples of things you can do that may not necessarily just involve the giving of direct gifts or money based gifts. You can't put the money on my time. Time is a measure of a person's life. And if I spend 30 minutes talking to you on phone, it means a lot to me, for example. So it does depend. So yes, to answer the question, it is impossible to love without giving, but it is possible to love without the giving being monetary. It can have many other forms. So I think I'll just leave it there. She answered
Yes,
the other
that, that's
aspect that I would have
that's a,
touched on.
that's a fantastic conclusion of it. So for those of you who are saying, no, that my uncle in the village, he hates me. That my uncle in the village he hates me because he not send you money, sweetheart. Sometimes the uncle does not have. And if he has, maybe he's seeing you that's not your love language. You have to express it. Because another thing is that some people don't know that they have to tell people how to love them. Sometimes you need to tell
Mhm.
people how to love you. Yes. Well, not everyone can be an extrovert like me. I don't even know whether I'm one. I think I'm in between. Sometimes I can just be very quiet. Sometimes I can really, really be out there. Anyways, well. Depend on the situation and the mood that you catch me in. So, so I'm trying to say, not everyone can be expressive. However, I like the way Talks put it to say, loving someone means that you try to understand them and give to them, so you are meeting their needs. We cannot overemphasize that. It is so important because, like the author of that book, the love language, I'm trying to remember his name now. The author of that book, like he said, you just be filling the wrong tank. It's like
Gary
fetching water
Chapman.
and putting it. eh, Gary Chapman,
Gar-
thank you. That's his name, Gary Chapman. So it's just like farming. You're farming in another man's land and expecting to reap harvest. When the harvest time comes, the owner of the land is going to take his harvest. So you have to understand this person so you can farm right. Make sure that you actually. This is the reason why you hear some men say, "But I give her everything." We're talking about money. I give her everything. She has everything. The house is comfortable. I gave her a big house. I buy her a gift. I send her on trips. She's still not satisfied. Hey, bro, calm down and check. Maybe money is not anything to her. It's not her language. She wants you to be there while you are trying to provide all these things. Maybe you are traveling around the whole world to make the money to provide all these things. And sis just wants you to sit down with her, have 30 minutes conversation with her, like a doctor said, just go out with her, hold her hands, and just have an evening stroll. That's not expensive. That does not require money. It might just be that that's what she needs. Both ways, even for a lady. Sometimes you see some females say, "Oh, upon all the money I spent on him, then he abandoned me and went for someone else." Auntie, who sent you to be spending the money? The money might not be what the guy is looking for. Have you understood him to know what he really needs? Okay, I'm going to come back to the marriage relationship. I'm talking about personality and this money. Okay, it's important oh. It's important. Let me tell you people some things, and this is the basis for which we are going to talk about the marriage and love relationship. Maybe this girl is just 20, 21, one innocent young girl. She has not really defined herself properly, and she's married, and we know that a lot of people marry young. They really don't know what they like or what they want. And in the marriage, like we've also said on this platform before, of course, we expect growth. So when we're talking about love and age, we said people grow. So there's room for growth even after you're married. Now, in growing and discovering herself, she discovers, oh, I like money, I like gifts. But now she's already married to one guy that even if he has money, he's quite the stingy type that does not give. Where do we go from here? Who wants to help me?
I think from the get go, let's first of all hit the problem from the root. That lady should not be getting married until she know herself. Should be the starting point.
But now she's
Um,
there already.
yes, if no, we can always talk about cure, but I want to try to emphasize as much as possible. Please know yourself, man, woman, know thyself.
I totally
And
agree.
yes, it's so essential. And if that means you're not getting married at 21 but you're getting married at 25, it's totally worth it because marriage is for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm,
So you should absolutely know yourself, and your potential spouse should know you enough to make a decision about whether or not they want to be with you for life,
mm-hmm,
because y'all are going to be in that boat. Now, talking about a situation where you're already in it, and then you're now in a season or you discover that, man, money means a lot to you as a person. And again, this goes both ways. I really would love to break that Nigerian stereotype of when we talk about money, we're focusing on women. Uh, because things are really changing fast. This 21st century. However, if she finds out, according to your example, that she loves money and maybe she's blessed that her husband has those resources, but is not tuned in enough to know how much it means to her at this party, then it's something that they can talk about. It's something that she just needs to continue to expose more situations to him, to explain to him this is what matters to me in ways that he can, number one, understand, in ways that he can relate to. And most of the time, when somebody loves you, somebody's your spouse, they will make an effort. Now, that effort may not initially satisfy what you want, but once you see them making an effort, encourage that effort. Over time, they will learn to get you more and more things. I, for example, I'm not a great gift buyer. If you tell me buy somebody a gift, you've just given me JAMB exam, because I am going to spend days researching online what is the best gift for this kind of person. And it's for real. It's an assignment. I will be busy researching for another 1 week just to get you. So in other words, somebody like me, the best way to go with me, like my wife would tell me, okay, this is exactly what I want for my birthday. I want you to take me to this place to buy exactly this thing. Perfect. We are going to go do it. I don't have to worry. I know I'm meeting exactly what you need. So they need to communicate and have an understanding. And I think it's something that can improve over time. In that
Hmm.
example that you described.
Okay. Sister Talks, tell us, what do you think?
In that example, she has already
Mm.
entered one chance. There's, me, I don't know. I don't understand how they're going to work that one out because you made a statement. You were like, the man is stingy. Being stingy has nothing to do with whether you have or not. That's
Bam.
the truth. A
That's it.
stingy person is a stingy person, and she
Mm.
went in with her eyes open.
Bam.
She will have to carry her cross. I honestly don't know what can be done to help her, except with immense prayers and fasting.
Okay, okay, Talks. Okay, Talks. This question I was going to reserve for those, the young ones, the single ones who are coming, I mean, on this platform to come and talk about this topic. But I'm going to ask you now. So what are the signs? How do I know this person is a stingy person? You know, maybe in the course of dating, or the relationship, are there ways and things that will make me know that, this bro in hand tight na aka gum, like we say it in Nigeria.
Okay, so I'm going to take this from two aspects, right? I'm going to use, and both are my experience. One is in relations to my husband, and the other is in relations to my son. So let me first start with my son. Right, I give him some money as pocket money to go to school. And so he went for one event, and he was not just me of a friend of his who, you understand, the girls. My son is 14; he's in SS1, right?
Mhm.
And the girls came, and after they were like now, and then the boy gave all his money out, and then they now got there, and then he was not asking my son, I don't have money now, father. How will we buy minerals? So I was not like, sorry, excuse me. He gave all his money out to babes. I'm like, wait, have you two been giving babes your money? He was like, it happened twice, but when he was hungry the two times, he stopped giving them money. And I was like, so you two, you've been giving babes money. Now it was funny in a way, right? But it was also a sort of concern for me because I now had to have a discussion with him because I felt that it was a big problem, right? When girls in SS1 are already asking boys for money
Boys that are not working.
that are not working.
Mm.
Even if they are working, right? The moment you make yourself vulnerable, the moment you start asking a boy for money.
Mhm. Ah,
So
this
I have
topic.
always
Oh.
been, I have always been of the school of thought that a man or a boy doesn't owe a girl because anything, not like anything, but you understand, you are not his responsibility if you are
To
not
give
married
us
to him.
sisters, we stone you here
No,
today. Oh.
no. I'm being
Sisters, we stone you. Oh. Some ladies, we stone you
it's
today. Oh.
funny. No, it's my school of because I think it is why we have a lot of problems that we have now. You understand? No guy paid for my rent when I was working. I worked. You understand? I wanted to live in a particular place. I worked to pay my rent. I am married now. My husband is paying rent. I do not have a problem there, but I wouldn't have expected him to pay my rent when I was single. That's the honest truth. Now, people tend to see things in the way because maybe because of the way I was brought up. One, my mom would always ask me if I come back from school and she sees something new, right? She would ask me where I got it from
Mm-hmm.
because she knows how much she's giving me. Even when I had, so I tend to learn a lot. I do a lot of things, right? When I was in university, I was making hats back then when hats. So I had a lot of money, right? But I still needed to explain how I came about that money.
Bam.
My dad brought me up. I keep telling my son that he's spoiled, and I think I spoil him because my dad brought me up to work for money. So even pocket money, I had to wash his car for him to give me pocket money.
Mm-hmm.
So I know. So for me, there's dignity in labor. Let's not get it twisted. Now, in spite of me working from as a single lady, right? As a married woman, I'm a Nigerian girl. I'm sorry if your brother doesn't agree. There are certain things that it is my husband that will do. I am not as in there, except if now it's a different thing if maybe for whatever reason it is, maybe there was maybe something happened, right? And at that point in time, the funds were not available and I could contribute. Of course, I would do it. And there are things that he doesn't even know about, he doesn't handle. I am the one that handles them with it, because it's more convenient for me, right? So I handle those financial aspects without discussing it with him. But as a single person now, however, now going to the second point of with relations to my husband, when we were dating, my husband had I think he had two of his younger brothers with him. He had like, I think about five of their friends staying in the house. Yes, that their house was a barracks, and he was the only one working, so he was fending for all of them.
Everybody.
Yes, and I think that was where he got me, right? Because it showed the kind of person he would be as a family man.
Oh.
It showed because he took his responsibilities. So because, I mean, I didn't understand how you'll be fending for like six guys. Yes, I don't. He was that even when he's not in town, right? He always makes provisions for them when he's not in town to be taken care of. That is the kind of person he is. So I didn't need him to be showering money in my account for me to know that this person is going to be, because I've heard people say that uh, um, um, all the Mr. Bigs that she wanted to eat, maybe she has ate it when we were dating. So now, as a married woman, she should calm down. We'll be drinking Gary together. So the fact that a guy does something right when you guys were dating doesn't mean that he's going to be like that when you get married. It's about how he treats people around him. I think that to a large extent tells you the kind of person he is, not
Okay.
just the way he treats.
Okay. I have to I have to cut you a bit now because like I always say, time is not my friend on this platform. The
Hmm.
gist is always longer than the time. I don't know what to do. But I get you and I'm hearing what you're saying. And I wish that sisters generally, because it's more towards us as sisters who believe that you are in a relationship with a guy, then he becomes your ATM,
Hmm.
and then you start picking everything, recharge card. In fact, some ladies, the moment a guy asks them out, the first thing is buy me recharge card. I've heard that kind of situation, and I'm like, seriously, recharge card is the least of your problem now. Who is this person? What is his personality? Where is he going to in life? Can I work with him? Can I love this person? Can I date this person? These are the questions you should be asking. Not be doing chingom love and recharge card love. And then for those who are really really wealthy, so like we're trying to get a balance now. If you actually have the money and a sister that you're in a relationship with is struggling with her rent, don't wait for her to ask. This is the place where I want us to anchor the conversation tonight, because no, we've talked about communicating, talking about your need. I as a person, I'm not so good at asking. I don't know whether it's pride. Tokumba's house and our house, a lot of similarities. The difference is that you can't even tell my dad because you wash car, he will give you money, he will not give you. If you don't want to give, you will not give you. If you want to give, you will give you. But we were taught to be independent when it comes to money. I mean, as a young girl, the moment I had finished secondary school, I was already, from that long vacation before your result will come out, my papa has thrown me somewhere to go and work. Go and be learning that trade with that woman, and then the woman will be giving some small small change. I was making kunu, I was making zobo, I was selling. So I never had to go to my dad and say, daddy, buy me bra. You get what I'm saying? Because I always had that change to take care of my need. And I have grown up with that mentality. So I might necessarily not ask you, should we wait until the person asks? Shouldn't that be that um ability to just say, this is the need of this person, I want to meet it? Emmy, shouldn't that be how love should be expressed? I see
Hmm.
my lover in need of this. I can meet the need. I should meet the need. Shouldn't that be how love should be expressed?
Yeah, in an ideal romantic scenario, what you have described is true. But in reality, the reality is different. And I think it's best we encourage our listeners to be very communicative. It's safer that way. Don't leave anything to assumption. If you have a need, be bold to communicate your need. The ideal will be for somebody to see your need, be sensitive to it. She didn't wait for me to ask because I don't want us to just make this all about women, and guys do have needs too. But she didn't wait for me to. And there's nothing wrong with a guy wanting to marry a lady that is rich. Amen. Okay. But hmm,
Wouldn't he be considered a gold digger? Oh yeah, continue.
so rich ladies shouldn't get married is where we're going with
No,
that
no, no,
question.
no,
Anyway.
no, my darling. You see, the thing about a woman being rich and
Uh-huh.
um, a man marrying a lady that is rich is a topic
Hmm.
for another day because there's a whole lot
Yes.
of things that surrounds it.
Absolutely, I agree.
So let's go.
I
Let's
agree.
go on.
But but back to the the conversation at hand. Yes, ideally you would want someone to be sensitive to your need, but as those of us that are married would even know, even your spouse that you've been married to for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, it's still possible for them to be 100% oblivious to something that you think is a blatant and obvious need. And you may still need to open your mouth, find the right time, find the right words to communicate that need, and then voila, your need will be most likely met. So there's still room for communicating the need. I think to the point where we talked about should who a single ladies, and we're using single ladies as an example. It's I keep saying it is important to know how you are with money. Stinginess is a perception. There are people, yeah, it's a perception, because the level to which you think A is extravagant may be different from how you think B is. Meanwhile, another person may have a completely different perspective of A and B. So it's based on your perception. But let's emphasize to every single person, develop value in yourself. Relationship, if I'm going to break that the word relationship down, it's a ship where two people are relating. What do you bring into this ship? You know, if we assume we're in the middle of nowhere in an ocean, what do we both bring? What value do I, in and of myself, bring into this relationship? Whether they be monetary or not, should be what is being emphasized. Now, I understand the whole aspect of, oh, ladies, date, and traditionally, stereotypically, a guy should give, a guy should have money, and a guy should be the breadwinner, and a
A
guy
guy
should
should
be
pay
all
for
those things.
dates. A guy should buy flowers. A guy should buy chocolate.
Exactly.
A guy
The,
should
the,
buy.
the thing there are two aspects to it why I'm careful with those stereotypes. The first aspect is it's very possible for a single lady to be so financially blessed, and we don't want that really rich or comfortable lady that's listening to this conversation to feel like she needs to represent herself as needy in order to be in a relationship where she's needy and somebody has to come in to fill that need. It's okay if you're in and of yourself full and satisfied. That's awesome. All right. So it's no crime with it. The other aspect is to reduce the amount of pressure on men and on young men especially. I've found out that a lot of the time wealth grows except you're born into it, which is not the case for the larger population. Most people that are between the ages of 20 and 30 are not rich. Let's just say it. Most people are not. They are finding their feet. Most people that are rich and have more than enough to spare are between the ages of 55 and 75, because they've grown their wealth over time. So if somebody is looking at how her father relates to her father that is a 60-year-old man that has been working the last 30 years and accumulating wealth, and think, expecting that, okay, this brother or this guy, I should expect that he should be as generous as my father, you may have the wrong expectation.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry, Doc. I'm going to cut you
time,
too
I
because
know, yes, time.
my time
Too
is
much
up.
things, too many things to say.
That's why like I said, I'm not rushing this topic, and I'm bringing another wonderful couple next week to talk about this man that is coming next week. It's from him I first heard. He said to me, even if you have a woman has $1 million, the husband's $1 means a lot to her. So a man should never say, oh, my wife have 100 shoes, why should I buy a shoe? She said from his experience, despite all the shoes the wife has, that one that he bought is the one she'll be wearing and posing with, like, my husband bought me this. So I'm giving you a background to the kind of person that I'm bringing next week. And we're still talking about this love and money because it's so wide. It's so wide now. We have spread it. The branches are so much now. I don't even know how to bring a conclusion. However, I'm going to just say to us that we have said that love is a tangible aspect of a relationship. Love in itself is intangible. We cannot see it. We just say it, and sometimes we feel it, but we can express it. Money is one way by which we can express love. That's just the truth. And it's not just in giving someone the cash, it's also in taking the person out on dates. It's also in buying gifts. It's also in meeting needs. This person, I mean, it's also in building your partner, whether male or female. I have heard of ladies like Dr. Sabah is saying now, ladies who had the money to build up the man that they married. Either they set him up in business, or they even send him to school. They paid the school fees. But sometimes the men will not do like you, Ledoche. You know, you Ledoche, if you don't know Nigerians, Nigerians know. But those who might be outside the country might not know. He's the latest sensation when it comes to marrying prospects. So he's well married prospect, and his prospect actually grew, and now he has become an international and well-known star. He has the money and has just decided to go and marry a second wife. And the wife discovered the marriage on social media. Topic for another day. Is that a way to say thank you to someone who has grown the wealth with you? This is another aspect of this love and money we are going to talk about, but it's not today. Like I said, the branches are many. However, one information also that we have heard here is that 60 to 90% of issues in the marital relationship comes from money. So define yourself. Know your personality. Toast have told us about the people involved. What is your idea of money? Discuss it. I always say to people, those of us who are not married, we are blessed because we have the opportunity to do it right. Some of us got married and did not have half of the knowledge and the information that we have today. You know, we just entered, jump in, they started swimming as the ocean was just carrying us, you know. Thank God for grace and mercy. You understand what I'm saying? But for a lot of us younger ones today, we have the social media, we have platforms where you can learn. Please get enough information. The time of a relationship and courtship is not just about shawarma. It's not just about going out on dates. Ask questions and have meaningful conversation. Watch how this person is about money. Toast gave us example of her husband and how he was taking care of others. It's also one of the reasons I married my husband, because that's when I were marrying very young. At his age, my husband was already carrying a lot of responsibility. And I saw him as somebody who would be responsible, you know, when it comes to caring for his family. So these are things that you should watch out for. Watch out for these signs. The man has the money, but you are crying already now. He cannot even say, oh, even if he's not giving you anything, let me help you. Sister, don't come and cry tomorrow when you marry him and say, oh, he's a stingy man. He's a stingy man. And truly, oh, Dr. Sebo, there are stingy people. Let's not go into that. I know a man that died, and after he died, his family discovered all the wealth he had. Meanwhile, when he was alive, they were barely making ends meet. You know, they were just comfortable. But after the man's death, millions came out. It became obvious that this man was really, really rich. And he was hoarding this money, never brought it under to take care of his family. So there are people like that. However, like we have said now, look out for these signs, define your own personality, be truthful to yourself. Don't say, even if you don't get money, I go marry. And when you know that you like money, because then that could be problematic tomorrow. Okay, let's hang it here. Let's suspend the conversation and continue again next Sunday. Thank you so much for your time, Tokumbo,
Thank you for
and
having me
Dr.
over.
Stefan. Excellent conversation as I expected, because I know the two of you now. I know the stuff you're made of. So I wish I could continue the gist, but time is not usually my friend. However, guests, listeners, please join us again next Sunday, 6 p.m. We are going to continue this topic, and I have a husband and wife coming to this platform next week to talk about love and money. You don't want to miss it. Thank you again, Tokumbo.
Thank
Tokumbo
you.
is a businesswoman. She's a mother. She's a worker. She has plenty aspects to herself, and that's what I love about her. Very creative. I've seen her bags, her hats, the things she make, even with beads. So beautiful. Thank you
Thank
for your time. I know
you.
you're quite busy. I truly appreciate your being here. And
Thank
my
you.
darling, my very handsome doctor, I always tease him that he's too handsome for a man. Man, where they find past woman. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. The
My lovely
pleasure.
family. Viewers,
Yeah.
please join us again next week and have a love-filled week. Apologies, Sister Divine couldn't join the conversation. I'm sure her network will try some other time, because Divine is someone you also need to listen to. She has a lot to say to us. Okay, I love you all. Thank you for coming, and see you again next